but we don't care about their needs and their problems and their trials isn't honest. And in your work environment, you probably interact with people who are not believers, and they have problems. They have issues, they have worries, and they have concerns. And it's as we reach out with them and develop relationships with them and listen to them and then serve them, that we are often in a position to share our story and tell them about the love of God. And they will see the love of God. Think about the people in your neighborhood. Are you that person that notices when someone has a need? And the people in your family and your extended family. Do they see the light of Jesus Christ in you as you serve them and meet their needs, rather than always worrying about who meets your needs? When we've prayed for people and we've formed a relationship with them and we spend time with them and we listen to them, we will have an opportunity to share. And of course, the best way to share is spontaneously and naturally in our relationships to serve someone we've prayed for. But we can also serve through ministries, and I'm going to suggest a few. If you feel in your heart you want to serve other people in love, you can contact Pastor Reed. And there's a ministry where we're providing meals for people who are in need. There's a food distribution project that's going on that takes a team of people every couple of weeks to do that. Our church often has calls from people who have needs for everything from transportation to medical appointments to child care. All kinds of people need to be served, not just in our church family, but in our community. And they come to our church and they ask for help. You can also serve through local ministries like Love, Inc. that is right here in our community. It meets the needs of families who are struggling financially. Nobody needs to hear about the truth that sets you free any more than those that are incarcerated. You can serve through child evangelism fellowship like these girls will that were up here a few minutes ago. And we're looking for host homes. All you have to do is open up your backyard and let that team come in and reach the boys and girls in your neighborhood. Minnesota Adult and Teen Challenge is looking for volunteers very often. They reach out to people who are struggling with addiction. And there are many others. You can contact the church office and find ways that you can reach into the community and serve others, because Jesus called us to serve and love. And we need to be ready to do that. But most importantly, look around you. Look at the people at your work, at your school, in your neighborhood, the people that you interact with every day, and who can you reach out to with the love of Jesus and be a servant to them. And then the last letter is share your story. Jesus came into the world to share the story of God's love. He lowered himself and came here to tell the story of God's plan for our redemption. And every follower of Jesus has a story. We all have a story to share. Okay, I know some of you are thinking, okay, I'll pray for people, I'll listen to them, I'll invite them out for coffee, I'll even babysit for them, but that get up and give a testimony thing, that's just not me. Not what I'm talking about. You see, we all have a story. And we all have opportunities to share our story. And it should be natural and organic and a normal part of our conversation. We should be talking about the Lord all the time. Our answers to prayer and the things that he does for us and the way he blesses us and blesses our family. I like to share my story. Not just my salvation story. That's fun. I met the Lord in a tree. And I like to tell the story. It's pretty good. If you want to know it, just ask me. Sort of like Zacchaeus. But that's just the first chapter in my story. There's so much more to it. Chapter after chapter after chapter, where I can share my story, like when I shared my newfound faith with my mom and dad, and they prayed to trust Christ. That's a good chapter. Or the chapter when my infant daughter was dying, and the doctor came in and said she will not live the rest of the day. And the people of God at our church prayed And about a half an hour later, she sat up and said, "Mommy?" Or the time I was in the basement of our house under a table with my kids gathered in my arms, and we were praying at the top of our lungs as a tornado ripped the roof off the building next door and flattened buildings all around us. And our house stood there. All the times God has guided, directed, and provided for my family, my husband and I, through more than 4 decades of ministry. Ups and downs and challenges and times when we didn't know how we were going to pay for the groceries. God has always been there, and that's all part. Even that chapter where some wonderful people in Buffalo, Minnesota invited me to come and serve their congregation as a children's pastor. Boy, that's a great story. God has been good to me, and He's been good to you, and He's been with you through the trials, and that's why you have a story. And God wants you to share that story with people who do not know it. You know, my story is not, I grew up in a wonderful home. I had great parents, married a terrific guy, had 3 perfect kids, and never had a problem. One of my kids is here this morning. He can tell you we had a problem or 2. I've had challenges. I've had trouble, fear, disappointment. And sometimes God miraculously answered prayers, and sometimes He just walked through it with us. Sometimes He was just there. And I always had that hope of heaven and the promise of His word, and I always just walked with Him, and He was always there. And if that's not a great story, I don't know what you want. Excuse me. Jesus told people to share their story. He told one guy this: "Return home now, tell how much God has done for you." So the man went away and told all over town how much Jesus had done for him. That was the demon-possessed guy who wouldn't wear clothes and lived in the cemetery. It says after Jesus delivered him, the people from town went out to see what had happened. When they came to Jesus, they found the man from whom the demons had gone out sitting at Jesus' feet, dressed and in his right mind. Now that guy had a story to tell. And you may not have a story as dramatic as that guy. Maybe you do. But you do have a story to tell. And we can tell people what God has done in us, for us, and through us. We can take the love that we have received from God and share it with others. We can take the joy that we have received from God and share it with others. We can take the forgiveness that we experienced and share it with others. We can take the peace that He has put in our lives and share it with others. There's nothing in your life that God has given you that you can't share with those around you. Right now, I challenge you right now to think of a chapter in your story, a time when God was there for you,